He's a man of many hats, a former professional boxer, a business owner, a best-selling author, a philanthropist, and 2019 National Boxing Hall of Fame inductee. Here's your host for Shining the Light, Alan Santana.
Hey everybody, this is Alan Santana from Shining the Light, and today I'm going to shine the light on Denise Jaxon. She is an amazing person. She's an actress, a former engineer, and a writer. Denise, welcome to the show. Thank you for taking the time out of your day to come on. And before we do that, I want to introduce my three teenage guests, my panel. We have, from Texas, I have Kennedy. And Kennedy, how you doing out there?
I'm doing good.
Good. And then we have a Chance from Texas. I have Nick from Palmdale, California. Hello, Nick. How's it going?
Hey, Alan. How's it going?
Good. Go ahead and say hello to Denise, everybody.
Hi, Denise.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi guys, how are you?
Good.
Great. How are you?
Oh, fantastic. Thank you.
Good. So again, Denise, thanks for coming on to the show. I want you to just talk a little bit about yourself. I was going through your bio, and like I said, I didn't see where you originally were born and where you came from. You want to go and talk about that and introduce, again, go in, talk about what you're doing today, some of the projects you got going on. I think the audience will be very fascinated by what you do.
Yes, I'm originally from St. Louis, Missouri. I'm a Midwest girl. I'm told sometimes that I have an accent. I'm like, I didn't know I had an accent. But anyway, I'm from St. Louis, Missouri, smack dab in the middle of the country. Left there for college and pretty much just kept going. I think you might have mentioned that I was an engineer, got my degree in electrical engineering, and actually worked in a position, and I'm getting ready to tell my age here, where my first project was designing fiber optic networks for the Super Information Highway. Okay, so any of you guys know what the Super Information Highway is today?
No.
It sounds
I do not.
Wow, I did date myself. Oh my God. Well, the internet used to be called the Super Information Highway. So my first job was to put the fiber in the ground that is allowing us to actually do this video conferencing today. Way back when we were just getting email. So there you go. From engineering, moved through the corporate ladder, did some international travel, expatted to places like Mexico, the Philippines, Rio de Janeiro, London, England, where I was able to live and work for several years, but always had this passion to write and to produce and to act. And so I took the leap and found my way to California via a script that I had written that was fortunate enough to end up in several film festivals. And that was my ticket. That's when I knew, okay, well, you can take this leap and step out on faith and move to California and just really jump in with both feet. So that's what I did. And here I am.
Thank you for telling us that. That's, again, going through and seeing what you do. That's amazing, especially being an engineer, being part of, like she said, the super highway guys. That is basically known as the internet today. So if it wasn't for ladies like Denise, we wouldn't have the internet today. So thank you for that. I really appreciate it. I've got to ask you, how does one go from engineering into movies and into television? That's an interesting leap into a completely different career.
I get that question a lot. And oddly enough, engineering is really a creative discipline. You have to create, you have to solve problems and come up with solutions. And so you have to be really creative in that. Now, it may use a little bit more of the left brain than the writing and the acting, but which uses the right brain, but I always wanted to write. I wrote as a kid. I was the go-to person for the love poems from, one middle school kid to the other. So it was always something that was in my heart, but I had an older brother who, when I said I wanted to go to school for drama, he was like, yeah, no, you should do something that you can make a living off of and do that stuff on the side. Was good in math, found my way into engineering, and for 10 years focused on that. And then one day I went to see a play, and it just opened up a floodgates I ended up joining the local community theater where I became an actor. Mostly I was an actor. I became an actor and continued to work my engineering career. Was married at the time, and me and my husband opened a bookstore. So I had a bookstore in a place called Richardson, Texas, and we sold African American books and artwork. And a lot of writers came to the store, and from there, one of them challenged me to start back writing, and so I did. And the story that I ended up writing became a short film, and again, here I am.
It's an amazing journey you've been on. So, Kennedy, I wanna give the floor to Kennedy. Kennedy, let's talk about a little bit about yourself, and then I want you to ask a question to Denise.
Okay, my name is Kennedy Shanks. Again, I'm from Chicago. I founded an organization called Minority Speak Up in 2018, and I've recently incorporated my organization in November of 2019. It was a really scary experience founding an organization at 15, but I guess 16, a year later, everything, you start to realize and you start to figure out how everything works. So my platform allows youth and give youth a platform to share their thoughts and feelings on things that happen in society and the world. And we share our thoughts through speech, social media, podcasts, and poetry. So some things that we've worked on so far are warm clothes for the less fortunate. That is a clothing drive that we had in the winter of 2019 that gave clothes back to the homeless and the less fortunate. We had an open mic event in January, and Guilty by Truth, a poetry team founded under Minority Speak Up, hosted that event, and we were able to give youth and adults the platform to share their thoughts on the things that were going on at the time through poetry, singing, rapping, all kinds of art. So any questions that I have for Denise, I'm sorry, because I'm interested in photography, videography, acting, and stuff like that. So how do you stay focused when trying to achieve your goals when you have so many things coming at you at one time?
You sound like a mini me. And because of that, I think that for me, it just became a way to compartmentalize and to prioritize and to write up a plan. And I think once you write down your goals and you write a plan, then that will kind of dictate to you your focus. And you may find that, okay, I might have a little bit too much on my plate right here. So you may have to back it up sometimes. But I think as long as you have your core goals in front of you and you know where it is that you're trying to go, and you're flexible enough also to be able to sidestep if you need to. But I think the bottom line to answer to your question is to write your goals down and to be diligent in them and to prioritize.
Yes, thank you. Also, I have one more question. I suffer from depression and anxiety, and I'm not afraid to tell anybody that because that's something that happens normally to everyone, including teens. So what is any strategies or coping skills you use to stay focused and to stay motivated when you're trying to achieve a goal, but you might be stopped by obstacles in life?
Well, first thing you want to do is surround yourself with positive people. Step away from the naysayers, step far away from the negative people and stay focused. Find that quiet moment, whether you're a morning person or an evening person, to motivate yourself by reading inspirational works or writing in your journal and just staying focused and visualizing your goal. I think a good thing also would be a vision board for you to stay focused. And when you're feeling a little blue, take it out and just imagine. I was a huge daydreamer as a kid. So, and I think it was really healthy and it paid off in the storytelling that I do today. So just allow yourself some time to yourself and be selfish sometimes and just take that time, or if it's better for you to surround yourself with happy people, then go find that happy place.
Yes. Thank you.
Those are some great questions, Kennedy. Thank you for that. And thank you for that advice. That's some great advice for teenagers across the country because depression anxiety. It's a huge thing that's going on right now. So again, thank you for that. I really appreciate that, both of you. I'm going to turn the floor over next to my guest from Palmdale, California. And that is Nick Appello. Go ahead, Nick. You've got the floor. You can ask Denise a couple of questions. Introduce you. Tell us a little bit about yourself, and then go ahead into your questions. Thank you.
My name is Nick. I'm a mixed martial arts fighter. I fight professionally in the cage. Right now, my record is 1-0, and hopefully, when all this coronavirus is all over, I can get back to fighting and continue to get some wins. I've actually been fighting for a majority of my life. My dad actually put me in martial arts when I was 3, and I've been pursuing it to this day. I haven't stopped. I wrestled a little bit in high school, and I honestly think that helped me a lot with my career.
Wonderful. That sounds exciting.
Yeah,
You have to show me a few moves.
yeah, I will.
Moves.
I will. It's definitely very exciting. It's also very hard. There's lots of ups and downs, but I'm glad I'm doing it, and I'm glad I'm sticking with it.
Great.
Nick is a little modest there. So I know I actually met Nick in Las Vegas. I went down to interview him in Las Vegas, Nevada about a year and a half ago. And he was fighting in the finals for the world championships.
Oh.
And he literally destroyed his opponent in probably, I'm going to say 45 seconds. It was unbelievable.
Just about, yeah.
Watch him in action. So he's a very modest, humble person. And that's one of the things that drew me to Nick, was him being modest and being as humble he is, especially when you're an MMA fighter and a mixed martial arts, growing up in mixed martial arts. I think that shows a lot of character, shows that your family, your mom and dad have raised you very well. So what question do you have for Denise?
I would say, what do you think was your greatest barrier that you overcame in acting or throughout your career?
Oh my gosh. I guess probably my own self-doubt, Nick.
Oh.
You know?
Yeah.
You have such high hopes for yourself. And, like I was telling Kennedy, I had this plan, I worked this plan, and, regardless on how hard I worked it didn't always happen that way. And, being able, and that's why I was telling her, to be flexible, because you may have to zig and zag, or zig when you need to zag, or zag when you need to zig, but you got to keep going.
Right.
And not taking, in the businesses that we are in, rejection is a part of it. So
right.
just taking that as more motivation. It's like,
right.
Okay, that's just another no. That's okay. There's a yes out there somewhere, and just keep going. And what you have to learn is that you are enough.
Right.
And they'll see it or they don't see it. Everything's not for you, but what's for you, you will get. So short answer, just overcoming my own doubts and my own fears. And
right.
I think I'm past that now. Pretty confident now.
Right.
That shows. I love that little sassiness there. A little bit of sassiness going on. That's good.
Yeah.
Nick, do you have another question for Denise?
Yeah. Out of all of your traveling, where's the most fun you had?
Oh man. I used to live in Chicago, and I loved the Windy City. Lived in
That deep dish pizza.
Yeah, and I know that's local. Internationally speaking, I love them all, but I think I felt the most accepted and embraced, because I went to these other countries actually as a boss to people that were already in the country. And I felt the most embraced when I lived in Mexico City.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
And I'm still very good friends with a lot of the people that were my employees there. We still communicate on Facebook, and that was in the 90s,
awesome.
as my daughter will say. Mom, that was in the 90s.
So are you fluent in Spanish?
I'm not fluent in Spanish. I spoke enough to get around, and everyone that I worked with spoke English or wanted to speak English, so I didn't get a lot of opportunity to speak Spanish, only to the people in the hotel and the drivers and stuff like that.
And I noticed I've been to Mexico City quite a few times when I've worked fights over there, and I've noticed one thing that you will in the hotels, the employees are very intelligent. They're very articulate. They actually go to school here in America. Most of them. They've been to school in America. Most of them. They go to universities and colleges here, and then they go back home.
You're absolutely
Very,
right.
very interesting. So, Nick, thank you for those questions. We truly appreciate that. Next, I'm going to turn the microphone over to Chance Gentry. He's out of Texas. Chance, go ahead and talk a little bit about yourself, and then go ahead and ask questions that you have for Denise.
All right. So yeah, I'm Chance. So I'm 14 years old. I'm going into my freshman year. So I'm experiencing high school for the first little bit, just through summer camps and all that. I'm a huge football player. And that's probably the most interesting thing about me. I've been playing football pretty much my entire life.
Well, that's Texas.
And actually something interesting. So I'm on this app, and it's like a recruitment app for just recruiting like upcoming recruits and stuff. And the rankings came out today, and I'm actually ranked number 10 in the nation right now for my class and my position. So yeah, that's some exciting news.
It is.
But I mean, yeah, other than football, as Miss Denise said, I've always had that passion for just being able to create and just being able to kind of like imagine stuff and then put it out there, whether it be into short films, music, writing, just anything like that. And I really got hooked on that with my older cousin Dylan. He kind of introduced me to it. And then I did a class this year where we got to pick a topic and study it for the entire year. And I chose, it was like a creative directing almost. So I learned about creating short films and networking myself. And yeah, that's another thing I've been working on, networking myself, just getting my name out there.
That's great. Those are great goals. What questions do you have for me, Chance?
So, being like another thing that we have in common. So I want to move out to California is like right after high school, whether I go to college out there or jump into a job immediately. And what would you say? Because I'm sure there were people that are always saying you won't be able to make it out there. It's too expensive, just stuff like that. What would you say to those people that are saying that, I won't be able to make it out there?
Give it a hand. Yeah, as I was saying to Kennedy, you have to find people who believe in you, believe in yourself, and take that leap. I was, as I said, a little doubtful, a little fearful, so I didn't do it right after high school, even though I knew that's what I wanted to do. I followed this career of college and all of that, but ended up here following my passion anyway. So if that's what you want to do, I'm going to give you some of the same advice. Just make sure you have a plan, because people come out here by the busloads every single
Yes,
day.
ma'am.
Every day. So it's just having a plan. If you're a football player, there's wonderful schools out here that would love to have your talents, particularly if you're 10 and 10, come on. Yeah. So definitely have a plan. You're just now going into high school. If college is the track you want to go on, just, keep your grades up, get into UCLA, USC, or so many of the other schools in this area. Or if it's not that route that you want to take, then think about what that is. You have some time. You're just going until you're a freshman, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, so you have 4 years to just chart your course, and like I say, continue to surround yourself with positive people. Do a lot of research about California. I mean, it's expensive today. It's going to be even more expensive 4 years from now. Okay, so you're going to have to put pen to paper, as I tell my daughter. I have a 27-year-old daughter. She's Austin. She's UT Austin right now, getting her master's. She was born in Dallas, so I lived in Texas for a little while as well. What part of Texas are you in? You've been south.
I'm from Bernie. It's if you know where that is, it's like I would probably say 15 to 25 minutes right out of San Antonio.
Okay, you're down out of San Antonio. Okay, great. So either way, I think you have enough time to, do the research about California, the neighborhoods in California. Maybe if there's anybody that you're in school with right now that may want to come out here, someone you can roommate with, or things of that nature. See if your parents will allow you to have a trip out. Have you ever been to California?
Yes, I have. I've been once. I want to go again soon. I went to LA once.
Okay.
I'd probably say 2 summers ago.
Oh, okay. Okay, great.
Yeah.
So, usually I think the key is just spending as much time as you can researching what it is you want to do and where you want to go. And nowadays you have this lovely thing called the super information of the internet. You can just click it and do that.
Yeah.
But again, I always say, put pen to paper. You know, what is it going to, if you're not in school and you're not getting a scholarship, what is it going to take for you to live here, to sustain yourself before you get where you want to go in the industry. So that's the key. I see a lot of people that come. I've been here 17 years. But, you know, I came after a career. My career, I was able to have what they call a parachute. So, you know, I came in a little different. I wasn't an ingenue coming in. So that was a good thing. And as far as my living arrangement, but it was bad because, you know, now I'm not that ingenue that Hollywood looks for. So I had, you know, to go back and answer, oh, I'm so sorry, I forgot your name. I'm terrible. The gentleman from Palmdale's question about another hurdle is, you know, just coming out here to pursue my goals, you know, in my midlife, you know, long after I was, even though I don't look like I'm, you know, I'm looking, but, you know, I can't play a teenager, of course.
The Hollywood thing when you don't tell your age, right?
Right. You know, I'm not a teenager, obviously, and I'm not an ingenue. So that was another hurdle that I had here. You'll come, that won't be your issue, but being able to work and get to an audition and, you know, being able to juggle all of that. So you want to have a plan ahead of you.
Yeah.
And I think school is a good one. So that's my opinion.
Chance, thank you. Thank you for those questions. Great questions. And again, Denise, great responses. I hope that you guys are taking something away from this because she is giving you everything she has. Okay. I have a question. I know you talk about, you know, traveling all over the world and you immersed yourself in a lot of the cultures.
Yes.
What, besides Mexico and you loving the people, Mexico City in Mexico, what culture really tugged at your heartstring, or you saw something that was just so out there that you just tugged at you and you brought you in? What culture would you say that was, and what country was that in?
Well, that was actually Manila, Philippines, in the Philippines. Spent about 6 months there and then traveled back and forth after that for about another year. And it was truly a have and have not environment. And other than the fact that me walking down the street in the Manila, Philippines could stop traffic because I was this tall African-American woman. I had just started locking my hair. I've been wearing locks now for almost 20 years. I had just started locking it. And I was a sight to behold walking down the streets. And I would walk only because the hotel I was in didn't have a gym. And I worked out every morning. And so they had made arrangements for me at this other facility. So I would literally walk down the street from my hotel to the gym and would literally stop traffic or go to the mall. And I didn't realize a lot of Filipinos were short. They're short.
Yes, they are.
And I'm tall, and they would literally walk around. It's like, oh gosh, you know, they would just look up and look at me, and you know. But I made some great contacts there. But I think it was the have and the have-nots that tugged at my heartstrings the most. And I mean, literally and I'm not trying to offend anyone from the Philippines. If you're watching, it was just my observation being there for the first time. But you know, literally watching people live in 10 shacks and then go down the street and then people are in these huge villas, and it was either that or that, and that was, for me, that's what I saw.
I think that you touch on that, and pretty much anywhere in the world you go, you're going to see that. You're going to have the haves and the have-nots. I mean, I've been to Mexico, like I said, several times. Same thing there. I've seen people living in cardboard boxes.
Yeah.
You know, and it's kind of sad. You see that here in California now, in Los Angeles. You see cardboard boxes, the homeless population, right? You know,
yeah, you're right.
You know, nobody really wants to talk about that, but it is a terrible issue right now. What's going on with the homeless population here in California? So
yeah, that's true. I guess now it is here. I mean, this was mid-90s, and it wasn't something that I saw living at the time in Dallas, Texas, or, you know, any of the other cities. You know, the U.S. had not become that place where homelessness was so prevalent at that time. So for me, it was a bit of a shocker to see it. And then learning a little bit about the history of the U.S. and their presence in the Philippines during the war. That was kind of interesting,
Right.
and talking to people about how they felt about Americans. So yeah, to answer that question, that tugged at my heart the most. But
Thank you for that. So no, I appreciate that. It's always nice to go and, like I said, get deep in some of these conversations and see just where people are coming from. But I appreciate that. I'm sure our panel appreciates that as well. So, we live here in America, and sometimes we take it for granted how fortunate we really truly are, and how well off most of us have it. We get to do anything we really want to do. You talk about pursuing your dreams and, your board you put up every day. I had the same thing where I would put pictures up on my on my refrigerator, and I would look at those every day. And I started doing that. I still do it. And I'm telling up to these kids, you guys need to do the same thing, because Denise gave you that advice. It's important that you do that. And your dream, you will achieve those dreams and those goals. And when she does this, we know what that means, right? Don't let anybody take your dreams from you. And we call them dream stealers. Don't let anybody steal your dreams. It's very important.
Yeah.
Right? It's very important that you continue to have those dreams, and you live those dreams out to its fullest. So, Denise, any other advice you give them before we wrap this up? Again, I want to thank you for coming on. And what other advice could you give our teenagers here, our panel?
I think the biggest thing, looking back and hindsight being 2020, is just don't be so hard on yourself. Just have fun. Go after your dream. Again, I'm always stress planning and research, but have fun with it. Understand that there will be obstacles, but that's okay. And remember, you are enough. Okay, you don't have to try to satisfy anyone else but yourself. And it's always best to be a leader than a follower. So just keep that in mind. And I'll be looking for all of you guys in your chosen professions, because I already know I'm going to hear about you again. So all the best to you, and enjoy yourselves.
Thank you for that advice. I really appreciate that. I know my panel appreciates that. In closing, we want to say thank you for coming on the show. Thank you for sharing your life experiences, your work in the movie industry, you're being a writer, and especially for creating the superhighway, because without that, we wouldn't be here today, right?
What can I say?
Yeah.
So thank you again. This is Alan Santana shining the light on Denise Jaxon. I want to thank you for coming on. Thank my panel. Everybody, we will see you on our next episode. Thank you.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye, guys.